Rain hammered the roof tiles like thousands of tiny arrows fired from the dark. Inside the castle, samurai waited without speaking. Torchlight trembled across wooden walls, stained black by smoke and time. Armor creaked softly as guards shifted their weight. Every gate had been sealed. Every corridor watched. Beyond the walls, the mountains of Sengoku Japan disappeared into an ocean of black rain. And still, nobody slept. Because somewhere out there, beyond the firelight, something was moving. Samurai were raised to face death without fear. They charged into storms of arrows, into walls of fire, into battles no sane man should survive. Death was an old friend, an honorable end carved in blood and glory. Yet there was one thing that could still make even the hardest of them wake in cold sweat. Not an army thundering at the gates, not a rival clan howling for their heads, just a shadow moving silently through the dark. Because when a ninja entered your castle, you were already dead. And the deeper you step into their world, the worse it becomes. The guard near the eastern tower never heard footsteps, not even once. One moment he was alive, staring into the rain, fingers resting on the hilt of his katana. The next, he was on the ground, throat open so cleanly the blood hadn't even soaked through his armor. No footprints in the mud, no broken branches, only a single black feather resting on his chest, the quiet signature of the shadow that had passed through every layer of defense like smoke through a keyhole. That was the true horror of the ninja. War, at least, made sense to the samurai. War had rules. You faced your enemy beneath the sun. You looked him in the eye. You carried your banner, your honor. Then you fought. But the ninja brought something far worse than death. They brought uncertainty. How do you prepare for an enemy who may already be inside your home? Disguised as a servant, a monk, a farmer, even the quiet beggar sleeping outside your gate. That fear spread slowly at first. A poisoned well here, a fire in the dead of night there. Then came the whispers. A lord waking to find a knife beside his pillow. A guard vanishing without a sound. And suddenly, every shadow inside the castle felt alive. This was the brutal reality of the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. A land drowning in blood, where samurai clans tore each other apart beneath banners of honor and bushido. They lived for the thunderous charge, for the bright clash of katana under the rising sun, for the poetry of a perfect, witnessed death. But the ninja lived for something else. They lived to make sure your perfect death never came. In the misty valleys of Iga and the hidden gorges of Koga, entire villages trained their children from the cradle in the art of not existing. Boys learned to run for miles without breaking breath. Girls learned which leaves could stop a heart in minutes. Elders taught the ancient ways of vanishing, how to melt into the night until you became the night itself. They were never romantic outlaws. They were weapons, living tools forged in absolute secrecy and paid for in gold and revenge. And the samurai hated them for it. Not because they were cowards, because they were unstoppable. Picture a powerful clan lord, secure in his mountain stronghold. He began receiving small gifts. A black fan, a single rice ball wrapped in dark cloth, a child's toy sword placed on his pillow. Each gift came with a note written in his own handwriting, copied perfectly from private letters no other soul had. Zane. The message was ice cold. We are already inside. The Lord tripled his guards, executed servants on mere suspicion. changed sleeping chambers every night. But the gifts kept coming, closer, more intimate, until one morning he woke to find his favorite concubine dead beside him, lips blue, a frozen smile still on her face, and a fresh note pinned to her chest with a needle. "Sleep well, my lord. The next one will be you." He fled his own castle that same night, broken, paranoid, a hollow shell of the man who once commanded armies. The ninja didn't even need to kill him. They had already won. This was their genius, the slow rot, the quiet erosion of certainty. They took your greatest strength, your rigid code, your pride, your belief in honorable combat, and turned it into the weapon that destroyed you. Because while you were busy being honorable, they were busy being effective. And in the brutal arithmetic of feudal Japan, effectiveness always won. The psychological toll was devastating. Samurai began seeing enemies in every corner. They tortured servants for answers that didn't exist, executed loyal men over nightmares. Paranoia became their armor, and it weighed heavier than any steel plate. One chilling account tells of a castle where the lord, driven half-mad, ordered every room searched every single night. Guards tore up tatami, ripped down walls, drained the moat. They found nothing until the next morning, when the lord himself was discovered hanging from the highest tower, a black cord around his neck and a single word carved deep into his chest. Too late. No footprints, no witnesses, just another victory for the unseen. Even the greatest understood this fear. Hattori Hanzo, the legendary Devil Hanzo, was himself a master ninja who served Tokugawa Ieyasu. He walked between two worlds, scaled castle walls for his lord, assassinated rivals in their beds. Yet even Hanzo lived with the quiet knowledge that one day another shadow might come for him. Because loyalty among ninja was as thin as rice paper. Today's ally was tomorrow's blade in the dark. This created a world where no one could be trusted. A daimyo might share sake with his most decorated general at sunset, laughing over old victories, only to learn at sunrise that the general had been a ninja plant for years, feeding secrets, weakening defenses, preparing the final strike. The samurai could fight armies, but they could not fight the dark. And nowhere was that truth more brutally proven than in the mountains of Iga. In 1579, Oda Nobunaga, the Demon King, sent his son to crush the ninja clans. What should have been a simple campaign turned into a nightmare of fog ambush and invisible death. Scouts vanished. Supply lines collapsed. Men swung swords at shadows. 2 years later, Nobunaga returned with overwhelming force. Tens of thousands of soldiers. Entire villages burned. Smoke hung over the mountains for days. Iga fell. But fear does not die with fire. Even after the mountains stopped burning, the stories remained. Stories of ninja slipping through enemy lines like ghosts. Stories whispered by soldiers who swore they saw figures moving across rooftops long after the war had ended. The ninja had proven something terrifying. That all the training, all the discipline, all the beautiful poetry of Bushido could be undone by a single man willing to crawl through sewage, disguise himself as a beggar, and wait weeks for the perfect moment to strike. That honor had limits, that the dark always finds a way in. And sometimes the most dangerous enemy is not the one who meets you with steel, but the one who makes you question whether you were ever safe at all. Even today, centuries later, that fear still echoes. When the lights go out in an old Japanese temple, and the floorboards creak for no reason, some part of us still wonders. Is it just the wind? Or is the shadow still watching? Still waiting? Still choosing its moment? The samurai feared the ninja more than death itself, because the ninja didn't just take lives. They took meaning. They took control. They took the very illusion that a man could master his fate through courage and steel alone. And in the end, they were right. If you felt that chill of the shadow creeping across history with us tonight, do one thing. Hit that like button as if the ninja himself is watching your every move. Subscribe for more forbidden stories that history tried to bury in blood and silence. Turn on notifications, because the next tale might slip into your feed when you least expect it. And remember, in the game of powers, the man who fears only death has already lost. The shadows are always closer than you think.